Hey there, it's Rob bringing you Ignorant Trading on Wednesday, the 16th of November, 2022. So if we look, we see that we actually had a signal trigger here, a long entry triggered for BA. If we go look and we want to check the deets a little bit more, we can actually see that it's telling us that we should enter at 174.11. And it's a rare signal that has an 80% win rate going long, a 100% win rate going short, and its average gain is going to be 650 in points and 3.3%. And it's also telling us the average hold time going long is actually going to be 5.5 days as opposed to 11 hours if we just stay short, which is interesting. And it's got a 63% win rate for calls and puts since 2017. All right, so with that in mind, I'd say that we have quite a bit of time to look at our options, but we can actually see that all these prices are over our 5% max per trade, right? So it's going to be nearly impossible to get into this trade unless we break our rules here. So one other thing also that it's telling us 5.5 days is the normal time. I think we want to be a little bit more lenient with our expiration. So we want to go further out because typically what that means is it's going to take us a little while for us to get into profit. And we know with options, it's all about when you get in, especially for these types of plays. So I'm going to go ahead for the 11.25. I'm going to go ahead and look for a 195 call. And again, this is breaking our rule because we don't want to go over 5%. If this turns into a loss, it's going to be very devastating to my account. But this is a learning experience for me as well as you all, using my indicators in a way that's going to be profitable using proper risk management strategies, right? I believe that this trade will win. It's just a matter of how we manage it and if we got in at the right time. So if we're trading regular stocks, it's going to be simple. It's going to get us higher in than what we got at. But with options, we know it's a little bit more complex. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, so here we are on the 17th of November. We can actually see we got a signal triggered for AMD. And we can see that this triggered at 73.43. It's a super rare signal tested from May 2nd to October 31st. And we've got a win rate of 71.4% going long. And it says our average gain is going to be $3.80 at 4%. And our average time to hold is going to be 10 hours. So like with BA, I want to give this a little bit of time. So let's just go for the next week expiration here. And this one works out a lot more in our favor. We're able to find something that kind of fits within our criteria. So I'll just go ahead and make this play. All right, so here we are a little bit later. We can actually see that our BA call is getting crushed. And our AMD call is doing really well. So far, so good there. So we found a really good entry point. I mean, we were up, what was that, 24%. And on our BA call right now, we're down 50%, which I really don't like to see. And really, we should just sell out and consider that a loss. But I'm just going to hold it since we still have some time. And I want to see what the signal would have sold us out at. All right, so here we actually are on November 18th, 2022. And we're going to check in on our AMD call, which is also at 50%. Again, this is a point where we would sell at. So just really unfortunate. Signals did not work out too well in our favor. Maybe if we'd had sold early out in profit for AMD when we first got the call, but we didn't receive a sell signal. So this was just, the signal didn't work that well, it seems. We can see our BA call is definitely above 50% loss, and we wouldn't want to take any more losses than we already did, even if these might go back up. I mean, at this point, we would just have to sell. And I get it. This is a Friday, could pop up next week. but it's not worth it in my experience. When you take a 50% loss, we'll just have to accept that the indicator just gave us a pretty poor buy entry this time. So we revisit near day's end. We can actually see a little bit of a recovery. There might be hope. But again, I would sell out. We may have just got a poor entry and it could jump up, right? Like I said, I believe in the indicators. It could jump up, but maybe we just got a poor entry. All right, and it is Monday the 21st, November 2022. And we check our AMD call. Yeah, this is what I was saying when I was thinking we should sell. Again, this is not to say that AMD won't pop up. It's just our indicator gave us a bad entry. Our BA call is still hanging around that 50% range, but trust me, it can go lower. It could definitely go lower. Now, again, BA may shoot up, but we didn't get a good entry. All right, so we check here at 139, and we actually got another long entry triggered for SPY 395. Now, this one, as opposed to the other ones, if we take a look at this baby is a super rare signal, and it's got a win rate going long of 100%. Its average gain going long is actually going to be $8.20 or 2%, and the average time to hold is going to be 6 days. So this one, I am very confident in this one, right? So let's see what we got. I'm going to actually, and given our performance on the pass options, I'm going to actually choose a much further out expiration to protect us against that potential drop that we see from a poor entry. Even though I know that this is 100% going to win. Well, I don't know it's 100% going to win. In back testing for the time frame that I did, it was 100%. I'm greatly confident in this indicator, we'll say. So here we are. I'm looking quite a few weeks out, see if I can kind of find something within our range where we don't have to take those huge payments that we did for BA and we took a huge butt whooping on. And here we are, actually December 5th. That gives us quite a bit of time. Let me go ahead with that. I'm going to put a limit in that I believe will hit because SPY is very volatile. All right, so here we are again, 11/22/22. And we got a long entry triggered for NVIDIA at 156.02. Let me tell you something about these NVIDIA calls that I get, or puts even, that I get from this system that I've created, right? I actually initially created my indicators off of NVIDIA, and in my experience of following these indicators, the NVIDIA calls are extremely reliable. All right, so we can even see here, we've got a win rate going long of 80%. We've got an average gain going long of $3 or 1.5%. We've got an average hold time of 3 hours. And we can even see that I've put in a note that says that the win rate has been consistent through testing since 2017. So I'm feeling really good about this indicator. And if we go back to our Robinhood account and go look for NVIDIA, we can see that it had a little dip here. And so what I'm going to do, since I know that the average hold time is going to be 3 hours and pretty early here in the week, right? It's only a Tuesday. I'm going to go ahead. I see this call at 43. I'm going to go ahead and put a limit in at 0.4. All right, so we've got my limit in at 0.4. We can already see that it's starting to recover from that little dip. We go to our BA call and we see, yep, we should have sold. We are unfortunately down ginormously. We go to our AMD call and that is down just about the same. So again, the indicator has failed us for those. And would you look at that, just 2 minutes later, we see NVIDIA ballooning, and our little 162.5 call that we were going to get at around 0.4 is now 0.59. And just 5 minutes after that, we see it going further. So our signal was right on the money. And big league, we now even see our little call at 0.79. So that is nearly a double from what we set our limit at. And now remember, we got to 0.43, so we were right there. That's a tough one. That would have really boosted up our account quite a bit. Made up for those losses in AMD and BA. So that's a tough one to see pass you by. All right, so here we are, just about a half hour, not even. In fact, we have our sell signal for NVIDIA. And you can see that that indeed was a big win for us. Like I was saying, I have a lot of confidence in these NVIDIA indicators. This one just so happened like, okay, so we thought that it was going to go up $3. It actually went up $2. I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to go up, just from my experience with NVIDIA. So, you know, slightly below what we normally get for this trade, but still in that ballpark. And so we can go back and we can see that it's actually at 86 right now. And we'll continue to follow it because why not? We'll see what it would have done, how well this sell indicator picked its exit, and so forth. All right, so we actually see that our sell signal gave us the right time. We see that the 162.5 call fell a little bit, along with the price of NVIDIA. Alrighty, so here we are at 110. We could see that the account is struggling. We reached a high today of 1,080. We're now looking down at 1,060. We see that was the rise in BA. AMD's been pretty stable. We're holding on to it even though we've taken such a beating. The SPY call in the meantime is doing really well, but of course doesn't cover for the beating that we've taken on the other options. So we could actually look to sell BA now if we wanted to. And again, if we'd had just done stop losses, we could have prevented a lot of these losses. If you recall, we had plenty of opportunities to sell at a loss for BA at around 50%. That would have been around 90 as opposed to the 14 that we're at now. So it's a tough one. And just watch, when we sell out, that's when these are going to do really well. That's just how it goes sometimes. And I think that some of these iron condors I'm starting to take a look at will be able to better cover for this. And I'll be testing those out in the coming weeks as well. Yeah, just checking the AMD calls right now. We could see sort of what we'd have to go up in order to get back to break even, which in this case, we'd have to go from 79 to 76. So like $3 up just to hit our break even of around 40. All right, so here we are at 258. And we can actually see that our SPY call is doing its thing, up 40% total. And we go to our BA call, we see we are down an abysmal 95%. And with AMD down 84%. All right, so it looks like we actually got our long exit for AMD. So we go into our account, we see that we've recovered a little bit. And we can actually go into our AMD call and we see that we turned our 84% loss into a 54% loss. So we recovered a little bit from that loss. Again, we should have never been in that position because we would have just sold at a 50% loss. But I wanted to see where the signal would take us. So we put in our little limit here and we'll sell out. And it's funny, let's actually look at the entry for AMD. So we see on the 17th, it told us to enter at 73.43. And on the 23rd, it told us to exit at 76.49. So the signal was actually profitable. It just didn't give us the best entry point. So if we actually look, we can maybe see if it would have been profitable had we bought a later expiration. So we go into December 2nd. We can create a watch list position, and we can actually see if we go back to our indicator, we can see on the 17th when this was triggered, we can actually go back to around that time and we can see that that would have been worth probably around 120. And sure enough, right now it's worth about 150. So we would have been in profit quite a bit. So for that one, we might have just been in a better position had we bought a later expiration. With BA, there's no salvation. That one is not doing too well, but watch. We might just sell into profit with this one as well and might just have gotten a poor entry. All right, folks, here we are a little bit later. We can see that we sold out of our AMD call. We see that our SPY call is crushing it at an 80% gain right now. And BA is still doing its thing, being a loss. We see here we've got our buying power. Since we're in a cash account, we don't get all our full funds. We just get the funds that have settled. And we see with our BA, we'd have to go all the way up to 180 from 172.5 just to get back to break even. Very unlikely at this point, so we have to accept the reality. So if we go back to the signal here, we can see that we have surpassed our time of 5.5 days because this was triggered on the 16th, and here we are now on the 23rd. Like I said, it happens because this is an average, right? So obviously we have to have some days that are above, some days that are below. We go to SPY. And definitely like how this is looking. We still haven't gotten our sell signal. But we do believe that it's going to go up $8 in total. And so I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to especially eye this 411 price. So if it goes up another $3, then I could look to double what I currently have. And hopefully our sell signal will generate around then. So if we look back to our performance on the 18th, we're starting to recover a little bit, head back in the right direction. What really killed us was this BA call where we lost $183. I mean, that just crushed us. In fact, we would be way above our highest point had we not taken that huge of a loss. Had we only taken like $50 of a loss there, we would have been in profit for this week. So the BA call really crushed us, guys. Yeah, we see our peak was 1,210. So we're quite a ways away from our high, but maybe off the strength of this SPY call, maybe we can find our way back, especially if we hit the target that we expect. So actually, if we look at BA, we see it's starting to hit its stride a little bit. But I'm just going to go ahead and sell because, again, I don't think that we're going to make our way back. We don't have much time left on this. And I'm going to go ahead and just add it to our wash sale list because we're not going to be trading this within the next 30 days, so we don't incur a wash sale. I go into wash sales in one of my other videos, but basically they're a way that the IRS prevents us from taking losses on our taxes should we trade in and out of stocks from a loss within 30 days. So that's obviously something we would want to avoid at any cost. Not to worry, I've got the strategies looking at multiple different stocks. So when we can't trade one for 30 days, we'll just trade another. All right, here we go. We got another signal generated. We've got a long entry for QQQ. And now I feel really good about this, especially because we already had a long triggered for SPY. So it's kind of just like the gift that keeps on giving. I believe that when SPY does well, typically QQQ is going to do well as well. So we look at this, and because I feel so confident in this signal. I've won with this signal so many times before. I think I'm okay with something that's going to expire in a few days here. Trying to think, I can go far out. We can also add this to our watch list to see what it would have done had we chosen a longer expiration. I think I'm going to go with a closer expiration in this case. So I just want to verify that it's not going to be a wash sale for me to buy into this QQQ call. And sure enough, I've only made profit off of this call in the past month. So with my buying power available, we've got our watch list up. I could just go ahead and put in a small limit here. And likely I'll hit. So going back to 12.7, that gives us quite a bit amount of time. But then again, I can actually see that the average hold time is 6 to 7 hours. So this is a signal that I can actually hold for a shorter amount of time. So that in mind, why not just give myself till Monday, the 28th? So I'm looking around and I see the 294 call around that 40 range. I'll be able to buy a contract at that price around 35. And I should be good to go. But actually, since I'm feeling so confident in this indicator, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 2 of these contracts because that'll still be just slightly above our 5% max that we want. It'll be 7%. There we go. All right, we'll see how it turns out. Okay, here we are a few hours later. We could see that our calls are doing us well right now. We see our QQQ call just peaked, but it was doing extremely well. Now it's dropped back to near where we bought it at. And we can see that our SPY call is still dominating. So here we are, November 25th, 2022. And would you look at that, we finally got our BA exit. Now, for whatever reason, it looks like it's not appearing in the Discord, but I did get the signal. I'm sure it's just a glitch. But you can actually see through my trading view that the signal pops up. Just going to try to reset it real quick, but now it looks like it's some sort of bug where it's not showing. But anyway, if we look at the contents of our sell, it actually is going to tell us to sell out at 176.28. And when we put that up against our initial buy, we can see that it was a $2 win, right? 176.28 from 174.11. So the signal ended up winning. It just gave us a terrible entry. So again, with this, maybe if we had picked a further out expiration, we would have been okay. It did ultimately find a better sell than what we bought in at. And so we can actually check and look to confirm this really quickly by going a little further out and just adding to our watch list and seeing what the price would have been around the time that we bought it and then what it's at currently. So we know that we bought it on the 16th. Looks like that wouldn't have been a good buy, at least for a week further expiration. If we go much, much further out, we can actually go out to February 2023. Let's take a look as well. We can see that we just be under break even if we did purchase this expensive call. So yeah, through and through, it just wasn't a good entry. Just following up on that BA exit. So my exit told us to get out, but BA has actually kept going. And so we see our call is still screwed, but the ones further out are doing extremely well. Man, just looks like the long entry that we got was just quite a bit too early. Because now it's really popping up, and these are the gains that we would have loved to have seen right off the bat. All right, guys. Yeah, this is not good. We look at our QQQ and SPY calls. The market dropped heavy, and we are feeling it. So not selling out of SPY when we were up 80% without the sell signal looks like that was a bad idea, because we're now at around break even. With QQQ, that just got demolished. So right off the bat, there wasn't much we could do for that. It was already at a huge loss. And so, with QQQ, a lot of times it can actually bounce back. At this point, we're already in such a loss that, saving the $8, it is of consequence. So we can just sell out now if we so choose. And for the SPY, I'm just hanging on for dear life. We can see I'm only barely up. We're up 6%. So if I thought that the market was going to continue to drop, I could sell out here as well. And mind you, we still gain profit on that. So it's no shame in doing that before the sell signal.